Hey folks, Tim here from Rockout Videography again. Today we are doing a deep dive into the Joyo California Sound amp in a box pedal. Is this pedal any good? If so, is electric guitar the only thing it's good for, or can you use it for other instruments as well? We've had ours for a while now and have mostly been using it as an amp sim pedal with guitar. We've also done some tests with it using acoustic guitar, bass, and keyboards. We also have a digital impulse response pedal that we have been experimenting with as well. Stick around, we're going to try to help you decide if this amp in a box pedal is the right choice for you. Sometimes called the JF15, you will also see the same pedal being rebranded and sold as the Harley Benton California True Tone. This pedal is supposedly just a clone of the old Tech 21 Sanzap Character Series California pedal that is no longer being made but can still be found on the used market. The original Tech 21 version pedal is supposed to mimic the sound of a Mesa Boogie amplifier. You can find references to Boogie style, Mark II style, and rectifier style in their manual. Joyo doesn't provide much information in their manual, but most people assume that the EQ settings are the same as the Tech 21 pedal. Since I couldn't find any independent testing information out there, we'll just go with that for now. Our pedal was purchased about 3 years ago. It was delivered to us wrapped in bubble wrap and came inside the usual thin Joyo box with just some basic instructions. Let's take a look at the pedal's features and controls. The pedal takes a standard 9-volt pedal power supply and also has room inside for a 9-volt battery. I decided to reverse the battery door on our pedal so that it wouldn't interfere with the Velcro we placed on the bottom. The top row of knobs are the EQ section. Supposedly the bass or low knob affects frequencies below 125 Hz, while the mid knob controls frequencies around 500 Hz. The treble or high knob is supposed to affect frequencies around 3.2 kHz. Keep in mind the actual Mesa Boogie Mark II amps have a 5-band graphic EQ that affect completely different frequencies. The next row is where you find the volume output or level knob. This controls the volume output from the pedal and is the same as the master volume knob on most amps. The voice knob is what you use to change the character of the pedal by making it sound like different models of amplifier. I couldn't find any information detailing exactly what frequencies are being affected by this, but it seems like it's doing something to the mid-range, affecting the volume output and adding some drive. Supposedly, turning it all the way down will give you a clean Mark II type of amp sound. Having the knob at 12 o'clock noon gives you a Mark II lead sound, and turning it all the way up gets you to a dual rectifier sound. Again, I am not claiming that any of this is correct. Since Joyo isn't telling us what the knobs do, I'm making the assumption it's the same or close to what the Tech 21 pedal is supposed to be doing. The drive knob controls the input gain to the pedal. Just think of it as the gain knob on a guitar amp. We're going to play a few different sound demos for you, but please keep a few things in mind. Samuel's just a beginner. You aren't going to be hearing any shredding riffs in these demos. I'm going to be taking it easy on my wrist for a while, so you won't see me playing anything. We aren't trying to show off. We're just trying to show you what stuff sounds like, so there might be some boo-boos. Also, if you can, please listen with good speakers, headphones, or earbuds. Your phone speaker just can't really accurately represent sounds, especially low frequency stuff. As usual, we would really appreciate it if you hit the like and subscribe buttons, not just for us, but for the other channels here on YouTube as well. It really helps out the creators when you subscribe, like, and interact with us in the comments. If you're into nerdy stuff, you can also find a bunch of original nerdy music, sci-fi, and fantasy themed t-shirt designs in our merch store. All right, that's enough self-promotion for today. Let's hear some sound demos. All right, so here's our sound demos on the Joyo California Sound pedal. Here's our setup. So we have our Yamaha MX49 keyboard. That and the other instruments like bass and guitar are all going into this pedal board setup that we have here. So we've got a couple of effects that we're going to play with. We have a reverb pedal set up with a plate reverb because normally you would have some sort of reverb on your amp, and obviously this pedal doesn't have it. Also, this pedal has only an instrument level out, and that is going into a switcher that we have here. And everything is going into either a DI box with a mic level XLR into the speaker, or we also have an IR pedal, and we'll talk about that here in a second. So everything is coming through a JBL Eon IRX 112, and we are recording everything on a Canon G50 set at 4K with a Rode Video Mic Pro. Okay. All right, so here's the test with electric guitar. We're going to start off with the pedal off. The only thing that's set on here is the plate reverb, and we're going just through the direct box without the IR pedal. All right, so let's turn the Joyo pedal on. And you can see here's what the settings are that we're using for this. So no other effects. We're still just going through the regular DI here. All right, let's switch over to the Sonic IR pedal. So the discussion that you're going to hear about this pedal, it has its own cabinet simulation in it, but it is not a digital impulse response. It's all analog. It's using op amps and transistors to make the sound of a cabinet. So should you be putting another cabinet simulation on top of another cabinet simulation? Well, people say yes and no. I think it just kind of depends, but we're going to test it here. I have it set the Sonic IR pedal at number 9, which is supposed to be a Mesa Boogie 4x12 cabinet, right? So here we go. Here's what it sounds like with that. All right, and then just for giggles, here's a PV cabinet setting. Try that. And there's also a Marshall cabinet setting. We'll try that. All right, let's go back to the Mesa Boogie cabinet. And let's try it with just the direct. And let's try, we have a black rat pedal here, distortion pedal, and I've got it set for turbo mode, which would be the turbo rat that has LED clipping. So let's hear what it sounds like with that. All right, and here's with the impulse response pedal. All right, going back to the direct box, let's add some phaser to that. We've got a Joyo vintage phase here. Probably Samuel's favorite pedal.
This is probably my favorite pedal.
Yeah, you really like this one. All right, so here we go, just through the direct box. And now let's do that with the IR pedal loaded. All right, so there you go. I'm not really sold on the America Sound pedal. I liked the IR cabinet that was loaded better. You know what? Just for the hell of it, let's go to that Fender 65 reverb setting number 3. Let's play that for a second. There it is with just the direct, the pedals off. All right, so I think it just depends on what you want. I'm hearing like more low end when we engage it.
Yeah.
Kind of, and maybe a little bit muddier. So in this case, maybe with this particular pedal, stacking an IR pedal on it isn't really the thing to do. The nice thing about this pedal, though, is if you don't have a direct box and you're trying to get to front of house and you need an XLR out, this is another way to do it. Right? All right. Well, there you go. That's the electric guitar tests. All right. So is this pedal of any use at all with an acoustic guitar? What we've done here is I'm actually going to even turn that reverb off. So here's the settings on the pedal. We messed around with it a little bit, but I think we kind of ended up pretty close to where we were at with the electric. And we're gonna play with the IR pedal. I've got it set for setting number 3, which is the Fender 65 twin reverb 2x12 cabinet again. So here's what it sounds like with the pedal off through just the DI box. All right, and then here it is with the pedal engaged. All right, now I'm going to turn on the impulse response pedal. We're going to switch over to that. Okay, and let's go back and forth a little bit with that. So actually, I'm going to add the plate reverb in there. Let's do that. So go ahead and play just a little bit, and I'll switch back and forth. So we're starting out back to just a DI box, and when you see me click, we're going to be going back to the IR pedal. All right, let's do it. All right, so there you go. Is it useful for acoustic guitar? Now, I think it might kind of cut through the mix. Maybe it could be something for you. It's not what it's made for. You can let your ears decide whether or not it's something that you want to do. So is this thing useful at all with a bass? We're playing a Glary left-handed bass because left-handed basses are hard to find, and this was a good one that was really cheap. And he's got round wound strings on it. Most people are probably playing round wounds, especially if you're playing heavy music, unless you're Steve Harris from Iron Maiden. So here's the settings on the pedal. You can see that we've changed the EQ settings a bit. There's no effects going on here at all. There's no reverb, no distortion, no anything. So here's how it sounds, first of all, just through the DI box. All right, and so we are set on the Mark Bass 2x10 cab here. So let's switch over to the IR pedal. All right, cool, and we'll turn that off. I'm not sure that that's really helping a lot. It's definitely cutting some of the low end out, it seems like, on this Mark Bass setting. There's actually, we're not demoing this pedal, so we're not going to show you all the other stuff. There is one other bass setting that's like a 8x10 cab like we have it, but it's really, really loud all of a sudden. It creates a huge volume difference. So what does it sound like with a drum machine? We've got it just set to the DI box here. No, wait. I'm sorry. We have to do it with the IR pedal. This is the way that the Flama drum machine is set up. It's in this same circuit. So there you go. This is going to be a drum machine with the Mark Bass IR loaded. Here we go. All right, so there you go. Is it useful on bass? I think, yeah, if you want to add some grit to it, the drive knob, the way we've got it set up here, can add a little bit of that. You could add more of it. Actually, let's crank that up, and then that's going to get really loud, but go ahead and just play that a little bit. Okay, and now here it is, just the DI without the IR pedal.
It's almost a guitar.
Yeah. All right, so I think you've got EQ controls here. That could be something useful for you if you're recording. I think most of the time with bass and just going DI, you're probably not going to worry about that too much. But is it useless for bass? Nah. If you've got one and you've got a bass guitar, you can play around with it and maybe have some fun. All right, so what about using it with a keyboard? Obviously, running like a keyboard or organ or something into a guitar amp is something that people do. So the way we have the pedal set up right now is there's a little bit less gain, but it's adding some grit, and you can see right there how it's set up. So we are not using any other effects on here. Once again, we are going through both a DI box and then through the IR pedal, and we've got it set on number 1, which would be the Fender Champ 1x8, because I kind of thought that sounded the best when we were playing with it right here. So here's what it sounds like with the pedal off. Right, so rock organ sound. So here it is with the pedal engaged. All right, and here that was DI box. So now let's do the IR pedal. So again, the IR pedal on this, you can decide for yourself, but it seems like it's kind of a little more dull.
Yeah, it dulls it out a bit more.
Yeah, it's some of the high end is sort of missing. So let's go back to the just the DI and just keep on playing, and I'm going to switch back and forth, turning the pedal on and off. So we're going to start it with pedal off. Back on. Pedal off. Pedal back on. There you go. All right. So yeah, you can use it with a keyboard. So again, you can add some dirt to it with the drive switch, and you can adjust your EQ settings. So it can be useful for a keyboard. It's not something that you would need. You could just be going to front of house or recording with that. And this one has a pretty clean sound.
Oh yeah, this one's pretty clean.
But yeah, it's useful. It does some neat stuff. All right. Well, there you go. There's your sound demos. After using this pedal for a while, I have mixed thoughts. We've been using it to make a guitar amp for one of the kids who hangs out here by connecting it to one of our 100-watt Cool Music battery-powered speakers, and it has worked well for that. I think this pedal sounds the best on electric guitar when using the higher gain settings, and works well with a distortion pedal like a Rat. However, as a clean sounding pedal platform, I like the tone of the American Sound pedal better. It also works with acoustic guitar and bass. I like the low end boost at 125 Hz for bass better than the low end boost on the American Sound pedal. It can also add some saturation to your acoustic or bass. Turning the drive knob all the way up can give your bass a really dirty sound if that's what you're looking for. On keyboards, it can definitely add some saturation if you're looking for something more than just the normal clean sound. The EQ knobs can also be helpful for shaping your tone and getting your keyboard to sit where you want it to in a mix. In my opinion, this pedal doesn't seem to work very well with a digital impulse response running after it. Every setting we tried seemed to just add more mids to the tone and make things sound kind of muddy. It's not a Kemper or a Line 6 Helix, but it's only $40. If you're on a budget and are looking for a way to get a heavy guitar sound without an amp for live jams or home recording projects, this pedal might be a valuable option. Is it the right choice for you? I suppose it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for a cleaner amp sound for pedals, the American Sound pedal might be a better choice. If, on the other hand, you want a heavier, crunchier sound, this could be more your kind of thing. Let us know in the comments if you have one of these Joyo amps and pedals and what you think. Which one do you have? Do you find it useful? What do you use it for? Do you run it into an impulse response pedal for speaker simulation? We want to take a moment to thank everyone who has been subscribing and interacting with us in the comments. It's people like you who've been helping the channel grow. Until next time, have a great day.